Hi, I'm EAC Commissioner Christy McCormick. March is Women's History Month, and as part of EAC's recognition of this month, I am interviewing women leaders in elections about their experiences in the field serving voters across the country. Today, I'm pleased to speak with Vicki Davis, who is the Supervisor of Elections in Martin County, Florida. Hi, Vicki. Welcome virtually to the EAC.
Yes, good morning, Christy. It's an honor to be here and to be interviewed by you. Thank you.
Well, it's, I've gotten to visit you a couple of times down in your office because you've won Cleary's a couple of times. So, always enjoy my visits to see you and meet all of your staff, and had a great time last time I was there. So hopefully we can do that again soon.
Oh, we would love that. In fact, Don keeps telling me he may virtually give us our last Cleary Award virtually. So we'll see. We would love to have you all come back down anytime.
Yes, I visited last time with Commissioner Palmer. So
yes.
I know he's not too far from you. So hopefully we can all see each other again soon in the same place, not on Zoom. So let me ask you, how did your career in public service begin?
It evolved. I'm a generational Floridian, and my family had a citrus business for a number of years, and I worked in that business. But then I had my own retail business for a number of years. But when I have two daughters, my husband and I, and when they were in high school, I became very involved with school board and actually made the decision to run for school board. So in doing so, I had to interact with the elections office. Mm-hmm. And I made the decision that whenever my predecessor retired, I was going to run for the position. It just seemed like the fit. And I had discussed it over the years with my family. They all approved. They all knew what my desire was to do. And when my predecessor announced on a Friday she was going to retire, on Monday morning, I had my paperwork at the office.
You were right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So you knew you wanted to get into elections.
I did. It was just something inside, that clicked. And you really do have to have a passion for this job. I think passion is what keeps you going, what keeps you motivating, because as you know, you've been in the industry for many years now. There are so many changes taking place. And so you have to constantly be evolving in your mind with your mental processes in order to make the leap, to make that next change that is going to come legislatively.
And that's a great lead in for my next question, which is, what are some notable industry changes that you've seen since the beginning of your career?
Oh, there have been so many changes, because I ran in 2004, was elected, and was sworn in on January of 2005. So when I came into office, we had touchscreen machines. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to back up for just a minute, because for many years here in Martin County, we had the Shoup lever machines. Yeah. And because of the election of 2000 and them being decertified, we had the ES&S Ivotronic touchscreen machines. So 2008, that's in 2005 when I came in. 2008, we have a new governor come into office, and he made the decision that for the entire state of Florida, we were going to have paper ballots. So we have 67 counties in Florida. Probably half of them were already paper ballots, but the rest of us had to make that conversion over. So that's one of the notables. But when I came into office, I really had to start from the bottom up to rebuild the office, because my predecessor had been in the office for 27 years, and it really had not advanced. So it was finding a location to house the office, because it was so spread out. We had way less than 1,000 square feet in the courthouse prior to our permanent location where we are, our standalone building. Our equipment was stored across town in a flea market. We had no place to train our poll workers. We had to beg, borrow a library facility or a jury room. So I was able in my first year to locate this building that we're in. It was under renovation. I was able to lay it out for an election flow. And 16 years later, we're still here. So so it was that, creating a website, which we're now going through and revamping the website, because always changes. And you've got to get.
Actually, this is what I was going to ask you about, the changes that you've implemented since you've started. And if you could also tell us a little bit about the Cleary Awards that you've won for innovation, that would be great too.
Yes, yes. Well, when I came into office, I wanted to hire bring someone on staff who would be out in the community. I'm out in the community as well, but someone that was always on that outreach to the community, because I think that's just so important to educate our voters, to keep them abreast of what we're doing here in the office, because, you know, so many people don't know, they don't have a clue as to what we really do. They show up to cast one vote and they walk in, they cast their vote and they're out the door. They have no idea how much work is involved in them being able to go out and cast that one vote. So I hired an outreach coordinator who has been with me for 15 years. She does an outstanding job, Kiri Anderson. And until COVID hit, we were constantly in the community. Now we're out there virtually. And we have had a number of Cleary Awards for poll worker training, I do believe, for one of them. You may remember them better than I do. Vote by mail.
Disability effort that you did.
Disability, yes, yes. And we've received a number of awards over the years for our outreach and for being innovative, kind of thinking out of the box, just to be able to effectively communicate with our voters on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so important, as you said.
Yeah.
So what advice as a woman in elections do you have for other women who may be interested in a career in public service?
Well, public service, I love public service. Like I said earlier, you have to have a passion for it, because you have to realize you're not in this for yourself. You're in it for those that you are here to serve. And in Martin County, I have over 120,000 registered voters. So I work for every one of those voters. Mm-hmm. And I would recommend to women who are interested in pursuing something that's kind of out of their lane, that they might not be so sure about. When I made the decision, when I was a school board member, to run for this office, I was in the middle of a term. And I made the decision I was going to run, win or lose. And it was putting blinders on. Don't look to the right, don't look to the left. You just look straight ahead and keep your eye on the goal.
So focus.
Yes, you have to keep that focus and you have to stay on it. You know, I was raised to work with my hands, to work hard. And that's what it takes, even through a campaign, but even when you're in office, it's a hands-on position.
And persistence. I mean, I can tell that you have spent many years trying to, make things better where you are. And you focused on, how to make things better and sticking with your plan.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's important as well.
It is, and you have to love your community, and I do. I love my community. I made the decision to never do anything that would embarrass my community to the very best of my ability. So it's always keeping your eye on that goal and being transparent in the process.
Very important, especially in elections.
Yes, especially in elections, especially today. Keeping up with statute, knowing the law, knowing that if you make a decision and it's based on current law, you're going to be okay.
Have some authority to back yourself up.
Yes,
That's helpful.
Absolutely. And it's it's like we've learned over the years too, in elections. Every election you go into, look at it like you may have to go to court at the end of that election. So you have everything
Sadly
in
true.
place. Yes. So you really want to keep yourself educated. You want to stay on that cutting edge, but don't let fear come in and stop you from doing what your heart is telling you you should do.
I've always heard that, it's okay to be fearful, just you need to work through the fear.
Yes, absolutely.
Even though you're fearful, just keep going, as you say, focus and just
Yep.
keep moving forward.
Yes. And I have, my chief deputy, she and I always talk things through before a final decision is made. I like to do that because I like to make sure that I'm thinking in the right way, when approaching a situation. And so it's just that check and balance.
And it's good to have a sounding board like that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who you can check, am I doing the right thing? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
So, and finally, if you remember, can you tell us about the first time you voted?
I don't remember the very first time I voted, but I have voted since I registered to vote I graduated in 1970, registered in 71, and I've voted since then. But like I said earlier, when we would go to the polls back in those early years, it was voting on the Shoop lever machines. So I well remember that, walking into the booth and pulling the lever, and the curtain would close behind you, and then you would have to pull the levers next to the candidate or the question to mark your response. And then you pull the lever, it would record your vote, and it would open the curtain. So I go back quite a ways with my voting experience. And I always thought it was so important when our daughters were younger, I took them with me to the polls to cast votes too.
I did the same with my daughter. I brought her into the voting booth to teach her about voting and democracy. And it's a great example for our children.
It certainly is. And speaking of children, that's another part of our community outreach as well, because I feel it's so important that we plant the seeds within our students about the importance of voting and keeping democracy well and alive throughout the nation. Yeah, wherever they are, they can vote.
We need to do some work actually with our younger kids and getting them interested in elections and voting and keeping this going. Actually, I think it's the 40th anniversary of the 26th Amendment is coming up this month also. So that was the granting the 18-year-olds the right to vote. So, it's interesting that you bring that up. During this month, we'll be celebrating that anniversary as well. Yeah. So, well, thank you so much, Vicki. I appreciate you taking the time today to talk to me. I can't wait to come visit you down in sunny, warm Florida again.
Yes.
We're getting there up here. It's getting towards spring, but I know it's beautiful down in Florida right now. So
it's pretty nice down here. Today's a little bit overcast. We have a little cold front moving through, but other than that, the weather's been absolutely beautiful, and we would welcome you.
Thank you.
Back down here at any time. You're always welcome.
Thank you. I'd love to. And thanks so much for all of your hard work this past year on the election. It was a tough year for all of us and in elections and for the voters as well, trying to maneuver through all the changes and everything that's going on. And thank you for your years of service as an election supervisor. So
my pleasure. Thank you, Christy.
Thanks so much for joining us.